Hi everybody, we're going to review the workbook pages that you had for homework last night. So for number one, it asked you to identify each picture as a line segment, or ray. So the first one is a line segment because it has two endpoints. The second one is a ray because it has one endpoint and one arrow. And the third one is a line because it has two arrows on either side. We come over here. Okay. This problem number 4, so the first one said, which of the figures have 4 right angles? So out of those 4 figures, you had to look which of them have 4 square corners. In this case, it was X and Z that had the 4 square corners. For question B, which is a square? Z is the square. It has 4 right angles. It has 4 equal sides. Opposite sides are parallel, so that is the only one that fits all the qualities of a square. For C, which is a rectangle, you probably first were drawn to X. X has all the qualities of a rectangle, 4 right angles, opposite sides equal, and opposite sides parallel. Z is also a rectangle because it also has all the qualities of a rectangle, 4 right angles, opposite sides equal, and opposite sides parallel. So both X and Z are rectangles. For question D, which is a trapezoid, they're actually all trapezoids because the only quality a shape has to be a trapezoid is that it has 4 sides, which these all do, and then at least one pair of parallel sides. So all of these have at least one pair of parallel sides. Some have more, and that's fine, but as long as they have at least one, they're going to be considered a trapezoid. So that's W, X, Y, and Z. For E, which is a parallelogram, so in order to be a parallelogram, the opposite sides have to be parallel and equal. So X has that, Y has that, and Z has that. So all 3 of them would be considered parallelograms. F says which is a rhombus. To be considered a rhombus, a 4-sided shape has to have all 4 sides equal and opposite sides parallel. The only one that has all equal sides is Z, and it does also have opposite sides parallel. So Z is a rhombus. Even though we would also call Z a square, it does also fit all the qualities of a rhombus, so that's the answer to letter F. Okay, number 5 asks you to measure angle X to the nearest degree. So take your protractor, line that up, and you're going to see that that is exactly 145 degrees. It's an obtuse angle, so I'm looking at the bigger numbers, and it's right in between 140 and 150, so 145. Once I know that X is 145, I can figure out that angle Y is 35 because they have to add up to 180. This is a straight line, so the 2 angles together have to add up to 180. It would be okay if you had an answer 2 below or 2 above 145. Just make sure whatever you put for Y adds up to 180 when you put the 2 of them together. Okay, for 6A, it said draw an angle equal to 40 degrees. So to draw this angle, the way I did it was I first drew this endpoint right here. Then I used my protractor to draw this line. Then I took my protractor and lined it up with what I had. I knew I wanted my angle to be acute, so I found the 40 right here and I put a dot right here. And then I turned the protractor and I connected my dots to get a 40-degree angle. If your angle's facing the other way, that's fine as long as it's a 40-degree angle. For B, I needed to draw an angle that was 125. So I drew my point right there, drew my bottom line right there, matched my protractor up. Now for 125, I knew I needed it to be obtuse, so I was looking over here. I found 125 that would be directly between 120 and 130, so I put a dot, connected my dots, and drew my side. If your angle is opening the other way, that's totally fine. Okay, over here for number 7, this is a rectangle, which means every corner is 90 degrees. So this part of the corner is 57, and they're asking for this part. You can subtract 57 from 90 to find the answer, which is 33 degrees. You don't even need to use a protractor here because you know these two numbers need to add up to 33. For part B, similarly, this is a straight line, which means it's 180 degrees. If this angle is 136, that means this piece must be 44. I subtracted 136 from 180 because it's a straight line, and I got 44 degrees. Okay, and then we're going to come right here. So this is a picture of a parallelogram. We know parallelograms have opposite sides equal and opposite sides parallel. This parallelogram does not have all equal sides. And if I wasn't sure by looking at it, if you have a ruler, you could measure it, but I just took a piece of paper and I lined it up on the bottom. So that's how long that bottom side is. And then I just tested it out with the side and I saw that they weren't equal. So in this case, opposite sides are equal, opposite sides are parallel. So when I start looking at these statements, does DC, which is this line, equal BC? No, that's false. Those two are not equal. Does AB equal DC? Yes, that's true. Opposite sides are equal. Is AD parallel to BC? Yes, that is true. Is DC parallel to AD? No, those two lines are not parallel. They intersect at a corner, which means they're not parallel. Does this parallelogram have two pairs of parallel sides? Yes, that's always going to be true for a parallelogram.